Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jag from Jaggy Sports. It is May 9th, 2022. What a great weekend. Lots of NBA. But the main deal I want to talk about now is, of course, the surprisingly good play. We all knew this, but we haven't seen in a while, James Harden. Now, James Harden went off for 31 points last night. Epic performance from him. That's the James Harden that we've known and grown to love his performances kind of thing. And he helped the 76ers secure Game 4 win over the Miami Heat. And they go back to Miami Heat for Game 5. However, breaking news this morning, Joel Embiid did not get the MVP. Congratulations to the Joker. He got the MVP. Did he deserve it over Embiid? That's very questionable. I'll let you guys be the judge. Did Joel Embiid get robbed? We don't know. A lot of people can say it was Joker. A lot of people could say it was Embiid. I had my pick. I thought it was going to be Embiid for sure, but congratulations to the Joker. Of course, this is going to get Joel Embiid pretty upset. I would be too, right? You played like a hero the entire season, and especially now that he's got the mask and whatnot, come back from injury, and he's got that thumb ligament damage, whatever. Bottom line is, yeah, I'd be upset too. So check this clip out and let you guys see what Stephen A. Smith and JJ Redick are talking about when it comes to the actual who is the MVP and last night's performance. Check it out.
Good morning, everybody. Breaking news. This just in from our Adrian Wojnarowski. Denver Nuggets center, Stephen A. alluded to it. Nikola Jokic has been voted the NBA's most valuable player for a second consecutive season. Sources telling ESPN a formal announcement expected this week. Gentlemen, good to see you. Stephen A., JJ, hi.
Wonderful week and wonderful week of Tigers. Wonderful week of Tigers. All right, it's good to see you.
This guy.
Good to see you.
It's hard to get dressed every day. Do you agree with the Joker winning MVP? Because you had a vote.
Well, here's the hard part. No, I don't disagree. I don't know. Well, yes, I disagree with it.
Okay.
Because I voted for Embiid. But I have no problem with Jokic being it. I mean, what the brother averaged? I got it right here, Jay. 27, 13, and 8 without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr., knowing that you're the reigning league MVP and everybody's game planning for you on a night-in, night-out basis. I voted for Embiid. Mm-hmm. I thought the level of adversity that Jokic went through without having those two players, as significant as that was, is an entirely different animal with the nonsense that Joel Embiid was subjected to because of the whole drama that involved Ben Simmons. Yet, he held it down. He did what he did. James Harden arrived. He still did what he did. And I think that when you've seen the greatness from a Joel Embiid the way that we have this year, I was just of the mindset that he deserved the league MVP. But I can't sneeze at Jokic because it was a nip-and-tuck race. It was very close, JJ. I really, really can't have a problem with that.
I'm just glad that this has been announced and it's over and we can stop debating this because honestly, this season has been probably one of the best MVP races that I can remember, at least over the course of my career in this generation of basketball. Mm-hmm. And really, I think there's three guys, Giannis, Joel, Jokic. Any one of those guys would be deserving winners this year.
Right.
And I also don't fault people if they wanted to vote and say Devin Booker was the MVP.
I was raving about him too.
Best player on the best team, held it down when CP was out with the hand injury. In terms of Jokic, though, his impact, you mentioned the stat line, no one's ever put up a stat line like that before. And when you look at his impact on that team, his on-off rating, it's insane what he was able to do this year and get that team to the playoffs.
I'm curious if this is going to fire up Embiid even more.
Yeah, it could be. But in fairness, let's say this about Embiid. And again, I voted for Embiid. Mm-hmm. Let's say this about Embiid. In the midst of an MVP race that everybody and their mother knew was so tight, Giannis came to Philly and beat you. Jokic came to Philly and beat you. And even though Durant and Kyrie weren't a part of the equation, with all the noise emanating out of the whole James Harden trade from Brooklyn to Philadelphia, they came to Philly and annihilated you. And so when you look at it from that perspective, the fact that the race was so close, even though it wasn't his fault, because he played well in all of those games. Yeah. Well, not the Brooklyn game, but against Milwaukee, against Denver. The bottom line is those are the kind of moments that can cost you
guess what,
a trophy like the MVP.
You know who didn't come to Philly and beat him, masked up in the playoffs? That'd be the Miami Heat. Let's go. We have a series, folks. That was the theme of Sunday, evening it up. Joel Embiid bringing new life to Philly. Back for his second game and second win. The Heat and Sixers now tied at 2 apiece, and much of that due to a vintage James Harden performance. Harden hot, putting up 31 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds that ultimately led to the victory. James, what do you attribute the turnaround to?
We're getting more confident, as the series goes on. You know what I mean? Like those first 2 games was a blur. But obviously having Joe and having our full team, we kind of know what to expect. We know where to execute on both ends of the ball. It just makes the job a lot easier. Think about it, we're still a fairly new team. We're down to 2 months in. So, when we finally catch a rhythm and finally find something that works, Joe goes out for a couple games. So we're finally settling into the series, and we found some great things that'll work tonight and that we can, capitalize on for Game 5.
Had some great basketball this weekend. Important to mention, folks, Kyle Lowry re-injured his left hamstring. His status unknown for Game 5 in Miami. Stephen A.
Yeah.
Vintage Harden, finally. Is your boy back?
No, I'm not going to go that far, not yet. In the playoffs, he's shooting, in this series specifically, he's shooting 40% from the field and 34% from three-point range, and that was improved based off of last night's performance. One game does not make a series, and one game does not make an individual. I will tell you it was great to see it, because when you saw it, the first thing that came to your mind is, oh, so he is still capable of this. He can still do this, because we need to see more of it. We didn't see the separation. We saw some of it last night. We didn't see his ability to make contested three-point shots. We saw that last night. We saw him get into the hole, but more importantly, we saw him being aggressive. He was looking to make things happen. I will remind everybody that since he arrived in Philadelphia, he has not attempted 20 shots in any game as a Philadelphia 76er. That's not something that you expect from a guy that's a 3-time, 4-time league scoring champion, as prolific of an offensive powerhouse as he is. So the fact that we saw that last night, I thought was a big, big deal. But I'm not going to go so far as to say he's back. Let me see you do it in Game 5 at Miami. Let me see you do it back in Game 6 in Philadelphia. Let me see you do it if there is a Game 7. Okay. That is when I will make that determination.
JJ, what did that all mean to you?
Stephen A., this is a big moment for you. I just want to acknowledge it.
Okay.
Because I have accused you at times of being a prisoner of the moment. And to see this growth from you, I'm very appreciative of it. No, I think Stephen A. nailed it here. Look, he had 15 straight games where he hadn't had 25 or more. This is only his second 30-point game in a Sixers uniform. I talked about this with Ryan Rucco on the broadcast Friday. So much of what's missing has been that step-back three. He's still struggled in Game 4 from 2, but the 4 step-back threes, that's what we haven't seen in so long from James. I don't think James has to be vintage James for Philly to win this series, though. I don't think he has to score 30 points or take 20 shots because of all the other options they have. Tyrese Maxey, 22 points a game on 50, 40, 90. Tobias is your fourth option, is averaging basically 18 and 8, 50% from the field, 37% from 3. He's been solid all playoffs. So I don't necessarily think James has to do this every game for them to advance.
I agree with that.
It was a welcome sight, though, because we've talked about this now for the past few weeks. Like, when are we going to get one of these vintage James Harden?
We needed to see the aggression, though. We needed to see a dude that wants the ball. Now, he only attempted 18 shots. He didn't attempt, it wasn't like he attempted 25 shots or anything like that. But he hit shots when he counted. And it was with no hesitation. And let's give our man Kenny Smith on TNT props when he said last night, if you're talking about James Harden, 4 seconds are left. I believe that's what he said. Don't think about anything. Attack or dish, or attack or dish. That's what you should be doing. And let's also take a moment to give some love to Tobias Harris in this regard. Tobias Harris was a second offensive option when the season started because Ben Simmons wasn't there and Tyrese Maxey hadn't elevated to this point. Y'all do understand that that Tobias Harris can average 20 anytime he wants to. You do understand that. Let's understand. We get lost in the sauce about him a little bit sometimes. The brother's a legit 6'7", 6'8". He's got a perimeter game. He can finish at the basket. He's got an athletic body. He's got an NBA body. He's strong enough to do these things. The guy went from a second option, not to a third, but to a fourth option. And yet he came in to last night, I believe, was he averaging like 24 a game in this series or whatever, better than 50% shooting. Let's give Tobias Harris some love too, and you're absolutely right. If Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey do what they're capable and what we've seen them do thus far this series, here's where James becomes pivotal. He doesn't have to shoot 25 shots, but he has to be aggressive.
Hold on. This is what I want to know, though. Are you guys now more confident in Philly or Miami?
Yeah. Let's say what you're going to say.
Well, I just wanted to piggyback on one other James
Sure.
thing, and that's just his response in that press conference where he says, what's been different? And he says, well, we're gaining more confidence as the series goes on. What's been different?
Right.
They have Joel Embiid in the lineup.
Yeah.
That's right.
They didn't have him game 1 and game 2.
That's right.
We saw the value of Joel in game 3. Didn't have a great night shooting the basketball.
Doesn't matter.
Defensively was great.
Yep.
His presence opens up everything.
Right.
And so much of this shooting swing that we saw from game 1, game 2 Philly to how well they shot in game 3, game 4 is because he was on the floor.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But now let's get to if the series is shifting, right? Because we felt like people were making their I'm not going to name names, making reservations in Miami.
It was me.
Things like
I already got my reservation.
Things like that are happening.
Okay. Right.
So it's all tied up now.
Well, let me say this.
Who do you have more confidence in?
I still believe in Miami for this series. And let me say this. I got a few text messages last night from the Sixers organization ribbing me because I got a lot of people in there I love. I worked there for 17 years, for crying out loud. I know a lot of people within that organization. They're like, Heat and 5 my ass. That's what they said to me last night via text because I predicted. I said no. I predicted the Heat in 5 if Embiid didn't play. If Embiid did play, I got him in 7. I still got them winning the series, but I will tell you this. It's become very, very interesting, and here's why. I didn't expect to see what I saw from James Harden last night. He's switching now, but I know Philly can win this series now if that James Harden shows up for the rest of the series because I believe in Maxey and I believe in Tobias Harris. I think they're going to do their job, and Joel Embiid is just a superstar, and I think he's going to elevate his level of attitude now that he didn't get the league MVP award. I got a question for you, though, because you covered, which game did you call? You called game 3, right?
Game 3.
You called game 3. What the hell is going on? Why is Duncan Robinson not playing for
Miami? I was going to bring this up.
Because I need you to bring. I'm like, the dude getting paid $90 million now. I mean, listen, Pat Riley and Mickey Harrison and these brothers didn't elect to pay him, and Andy Ellsberg and those boys didn't elect to pay him to be sitting on the bench. The dude ain't playing at all. And I understand he could be a defensive liability, and he ain't the greatest ball handler in the world. But when you have a sniper like him, the guy that's capable of dropping 8 or 9 threes in a playoff game the way he did in the first round, how he's not playing now, I was asking you, is he injured? Is something going on? I don't understand how you can't. If you're the great Eric Spoelstra, who I believe to be a great coach, how is this dude not playing at all?
So a couple things to that. First of all, prior to this weekend, game 3 and 4 in Philly, the Heat were 20-3 with Max Strus in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened during that period of time with Strus in the starting lineup is Victor Oladipo came back.
Okay.
And he's given them some really good minutes.
They
probably trust him more as a playmaker and defensively. So I think both of those things are why Duncan is not playing. When we talk about this series, look, there's a number of things you can point to. You can talk about Embiid being back in the lineup. You can talk about Vintage Harden. You can talk about Jimmy Butler probably being the best player in this series and all that. But this series really is a swing series based on who's shooting threes.
Yeah.
Who's shooting threes. And you look at what Philly did at home, 32 of 66 from 3 in game 3 and 4, 14 of 64 in game 1 and 2 in Miami. Miami was 14 of 65 from 3 in Philly. So going forward, whether it's another 2 games or another 3 games, whoever makes the most threes probably has the best chance.
Okay, I think Philly's winning it.
I'm gonna get to my pick in a second.
That's what I want.
The other thing I wanted to just point out, and it's a weird development. Joel Embiid, I talk about him all the time.
Okay.
Just his defensive presence and how valuable that is. And him on the basketball court, you basically have the equivalent of a league best defense almost every year.
Okay.
We saw in the first round against Toronto them target him one-on-one as the primary defender. And we saw that again last night. Miami was 12 of 18 with him as the primary defender. Second half, because Miami went small, Joel ended up guarding Jimmy Butler a lot in the half court.
That's
Jimmy
right.
was
Jimmy
5
Butler
for
was,
6.
abusing him.
Abusing him. 5 for 6.
Right.
So that's another thing to watch, I think, throughout the rest of the series is them attacking, not necessarily when he's in that drop coverage, because he's so good there, but as the primary defender. The other thing, Stephen, have you noticed for two teams, like a Doc Rivers team with good defenders, a Miami team with good defenders, there's been so much zone in this series.
Well, here's the reason why. Let me tell you this. First of all, again, part of it is you want to dare dudes to shoot. That's number one. But number two, and more importantly, you're trying to protect certain people. Like in the case of Joel Embiid, let's understand something. Here's why you attack a Joel Embiid right now, for two reasons. First of all, he's got the thumb injury. Yeah. Okay? So he's going to be reluctant to really, really use that. Number two, you said, I don't give a damn what anybody says. Okay, you can wear a mask all you want to. You're going to be sensitive to that eye. Yeah. So you got two things that you're sensitive to, right? And so their mentality is attack him. Either he's going to be passive, or he's going to be ultra aggressive and he might get himself in foul trouble so we can get him out of the game and negate their chances. So I think they're thinking along those lines. To get back to your point about Oladipo and Struss, I totally understand that thinking because it's really good to see Oladipo back because people forget what an all-star caliber player this brother was. So it's really good to see him back, but you still got to find time for a sniper. You got a time. They shot, 7 for 35 from three-point range yesterday? You can't have that. Yeah. If you're the Miami Heat, you've got to be able to be a formidable threat from the perimeter. If you can't pull that off, you're not going to win this series.
100%. And I want to get to my pick in the series right now. Look, I've talked about the Miami Heat all season as being one of the most dangerous teams. I had them winning the series with or without Embiid when the playoffs started.
Right.
I'm going to change that pick.
Okay. Yeah! Okay. Now we're talking.
You're entitled.
After these last two games, and again, maybe I'm getting caught up.
Because I said Philly ahead of time, and I know Philly's going to win, and I like the confirmation. And you're feeling bad about your pick right now. I know you're having a little anxiety.
The other thing Miami has to solve is like the non-Jimmy Butler minutes. He played most all of Game 3 and Game 4. I think there were 16 minutes he wasn't on the floor. They lost those minutes by 22 points.
Yes.
He's got for him, can he go 45, 46 minutes for 3 straight games, given the amount of playmaking
I will say this to you. I don't think he'll have to win one more game. I think he will need to win 2
more, yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is that you probably will do that in Game 5 to assure Game 5. You'll take your chances Game 6 to make sure he's ready for Game 7, if indeed it requires that he goes 48 minutes. The disappointment that I have is that we're the other dudes. Because, Jimmy, Miami has never been a team about one guy. You've been a team about a multitude of individuals. A Bam Adebayo, a Tyler Hero, the reigning 6th man of the year. Struss obviously can shoot. Gabe Vincent, he could do some things. And again, I'm going to bring up Duncan Robinson because I firmly believe in snipers. Snipers change the complexion of a game. They give you that extra added boost when you need it. And you need shooters out on the court against the Philadelphia 76ers when Embiid is out there. Without Embiid, no problem. But with Embiid, you need that stuff out there in order to knock it. I want to remind everybody, Miami wasn't out of this game. It was midway through the fourth quarter. They were still in the game. They were still within striking distance. They didn't get blown out now. So we got to take those things into consideration and understand they were still in a position to steal this. They didn't do it. I think this goes 7. I'm still going with Miami in a Game 7 down in South Beach.
Okay. In the words of Kendrick Perkins, I'm sorry for your loss. I won't do a J. Will and bet a suit or anything.
Molly, you're picking the Sixers?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen.
And if you want to go with records in the past, especially Super Bowls, you want to lean with me.
I will be ecstatic. I will be ecstatic for Embiid. I definitely would be ecstatic for my man Doc Rivers. And I'd be happy for James Harden as well. I'd be sad for myself because of my plans. Oh my goodness. In South Beach. I would not be happy.
Can I tell you a great secret? I think June 25th when the finals end, you can go out there for a month, rent a house, live your best life.
See, you're missing something about the importance of basketball. Like, for example, LA, the sunshine is beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. But it ain't the same when the Lakers are irrelevant. It's not the same. Chicago.
You're saying Miami's not the same when the Heat aren't
I'm
as good?
telling you right now, it's a different flavor when Miami is playing. I'm not saying that you can't have a good time, but it's a different vibe in the air.
Flavor in Miami.
There's a different vibe in the air when the playoffs are going on in South Beach. Let me be very, very clear.
All right. I thought there was always flavor in Miami.
Yeah, I said more, Molly. I didn't say it was devoid of any. I said more.